Hey Aquarius, I hope that you're all doing well. Where I'm seeing us begin is with what looks like a change that is ready to happen, or something that can even be at the point of kind of being ready to unfold. I see it like a carpet being rolled out, and the path, it looks like, can be to walk down there, but for some reason I'm seeing there almost be a like I'm just standing here and I'm not going, but it feels almost like it's time to be walking down that, it's time to be going, but instead I'm seeing there be this kind of just like staying stuck rather than moving forward. I'm looking at Wheel of Fortune, Seven of Swords, Two of Swords, Four of Swords. When we have Wheel of Fortune, it can be that time when tides are sort of shifting and action can be taken, then like the portal's open, it's time for this to be happening, but instead I'm seeing just like inaction. Yeah, it's so weird. It feels like everything was leading up to this point, and all of this traveling, all of this processing, all of this moving around within the energy, all this traveling to get to the point of where the portal is, and then the portal opens, and then there's just like a standing there. It's like not wanting to jump into the water after having to travel all the way there, just kind of like staying on the bank. This can be something that's not being done. It can be something that's not being said. Action that's not being taken. In a weird way, I feel like you might get pushed in to the energy. Having Seven of Swords feels like this avoidance of like standing on the bank and not jumping in, but then the Tower coming out feels like, well, it's gonna happen regardless. Almost like it doesn't matter if you run away. I feel like you're kind of gonna get dragged into this anyway, which is a weird thing to be seeing, but it's something with the time where I almost feel you like getting pulled in a certain direction, and you can't really fight off the magnetic force at this point. So whether you go along with it, you're gonna be going into this, or if you try to resist it, it feels like it's gonna pull you into this regardless, which again is like a weird message to be seeing, but that's how I'm getting it be within the energy for some reason. It just feels very inevitable as far as what I'm seeing here. And if something like that is happening, it's definitely going to be the best for you. But there can be something about this where, like, if you're not going along kind of with the motion of this, it can feel a little bit like possibly it wasn't totally your choice. I get that a little bit here. It can actually feel like it wasn't your ego's choice, but this feels like one of those times where if something like this is going to happen regardless, it's one of those things that it really is going to be the best for you. So you can look back and be like, well, I'm glad that that happened, or it was really important that that happened. But as far as like from where you're standing now, it kind of feels like it's like your guide saying that something is going to be good for you, and that it's going to like, it's going to free you, it's going to liberate you. But I'm getting this part of your shadow being like, no, 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 I don't want it. And like, even though you can know that this is best for you, I get your shadow being like, no, don't go that way. But then I'm seeing again, like the gravity of this situation, it's like going to happen regardless. And this will be one of those things where once you get out to the other side, if you're like able to see things clearly, what you're going to see about this situation is that this was actually so important for you, and it was so good for you that this happened. But I'm getting your shadow really resisting this. This can be a time when certain important things come to light. That can be something that happens. But whatever it was, it feels like change is meant to happen. The opening is there. Then it feels like, whether this was just like, I'm going to stand here and I'm not going to go for it at all, and then you kind of get pushed into the portal, or you're standing there and for a moment you're like, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but then you end up doing it anyway. Regardless, it's going to happen. Things are going in that direction. This is what I'm seeing be going on. But it can be a little bit like, if you stand there long enough without deciding, you're going to get pulled into it anyway, is what I'm seeing. But you kind of have a choice before that point of whether this is your choice or not, because when it gets to a certain point and you're still not doing anything, I'm seeing the choice is going to be made for you, which again, it seems really intense, but all that you need to know about this situation is that this is the best thing for you. And so there can be maybe a sense of relief within that, even if your shadow has been kind of running away from this. Maybe it's something kind of intense, and that's part of the reason why there's been a desire to avoid it. Like, maybe it just feels like this is going to be putting a lot on my plate. That means too that something can be exposed, and it can be something about someone around you, but it's also going to have to do with you. Like, if you haven't been telling yourself the truth about a particular situation that you've been in, if you have been given sort of ample opportunity for you to make a necessary change or make a necessary pivot, and you just haven't been doing it because you haven't wanted to address this, because I kind of get a situation here where this can be something where you can like really be lying to yourself about something here, or you can really be, it's like difficult when we get these sorts of messages. It can be anyway. It can either be you've been like really lying to yourself in some way, or that something has been going on like really unconsciously, and there can just be you almost feel like, I don't think that you'd consciously be like, I'm lying to myself here. I think this can be more unconscious the way that it happens. And coming back to this thing, it's about something where now it's time for this to be happening. There's an avoidance of going in this direction, even though everything is helping you to move in that direction. And there's been like a really strong procrastination, but can come from a place of, I'm not even aware of what's going on here, even though you can feel it, but it feels like it hasn't totally come to the front. And so you could just be sitting on it right now. What I'm seeing is going to happen is that things are going to be pushed forward. So it's kind of like, if you don't take the step, you're going to be pushed into taking this step. So again, it's going to happen regardless, but it's the best thing for you. I'm seeing Leo on the bottom of the deck. I'm also looking at Jupiter and Mars. So when Jupiter and Mars aspect one another, that can be when this happens, or there can be something going on transit-wise within your chart. That can also be something that you see too. This is going to help you break out of some sort of stagnancy. It's kind of like, if it were your choice, you have the wheel, and I'm seeing it, you be told you need to cut a right, and instead it's like, no, I'm just gonna go straight down this path. It's like, that's going to take you off the edge. Like, you're gonna drive off of the cliff here. And so before you get to that point of driving off the cliff, I'm seeing if you don't make that turn there, your guides are gonna like grab the wheel and turn for you, but it's for your best interest so you don't go off of the cliff here, because that's where you need to be within the energy and within the trajectory. All you get to decide at this point is whether you're the one that makes the turn, or it's kind of the universe that makes the turn for you. But the turn is going to happen regardless, and you're kind of like stuck in that car that you're in here when it comes to where you are with things. But I'm definitely seeing it's going to push things forward. This can feel, I'm not going to lie to you, this can feel like a really stressful change that happens. It can feel like it puts some sort of burden on you, but that's not going to last. I think most of the burden comes from a place of resistance about this whole thing anyway. and then it's going to be over, and then things are going to move forward past that point. Move that hasn't been being made, something that hasn't been addressed, something that hasn't been being confronted, something that hasn't been being done. But yeah, now for some reason, the way that I'm seeing the energy be is just like this thing is going to happen regardless, because we kind of like, we need you there. We need you to be up at that spot. But what I'm also seeing is that part of why this can be more of an unconscious energy where you cannot be... Part of the reason why this can be being repressed right now is because you know that when this change happens, it's going to be potentially stressful. It's going to put a lot on your plate. So this feels like trying to sort of get away with dealing with this. But I want to say this again, it can be in a way where like you're not totally aware that you've been doing that with yourself. Like you can just be sort of like unconsciously avoiding a stressful situation, but not totally aware that you're actually doing that. It's like the good thing for you, the best thing for you is to go in this direction, but you're going to have to confront something that can feel really challenging to confront, and that there's been, whether it's you're aware of this or not, it's been an avoidance of having to deal with that, even though it's the best path for you. This is going to give you a peace of mind that you may not have right now. This is going to help something settle down. It's that thing where, you know, when you have to do something that feels really difficult and then it like happens and then there's like that relief. And sometimes we do need the universe to make the choice for us. Sometimes we do need somebody else to grab the wheel because it's like, it's really hard to do it. Yeah. Sometimes we do need the universe to grab the wheel and do it for us. And when that happens after the fact, there can be a relief of like, I needed to do it. I just felt like I couldn't bring myself to do that. But I'm like glad that it happened because it needed to. This may be one of those situations for you as well. After this happens, there can be some sort of period of kind of recovering from this. In a way, I feel like this is like so ambiguous. I don't know what exactly this is about. I don't know what's going on for you personally, but I'm definitely seeing this is going to feel like a big deal, like relative to your own perspective of stuff that's going on within your life. Having Wheel of Fortune and having Tower, these are two very powerful energies, and they're both ones that can feel like it introduces stuff that really does pack a punch. Jupiter is going to help push you forward, and Mars is going to be the thing that actually makes that happen. So it's like this really is the best thing for you, but it may require some stimulation, and it's going to provide exactly that. It feels like within the environment to make this happen. I feel too like the longer that you've been putting this off, the more intense the situation could have been, and it feels almost like this is going to help take you out of that as well, because you're not really meant to be maneuvering in this type of scenario anymore. But you know, when you have to face something stressful to get out of a stressful situation, there can be like an avoidance of wanting to do it in the first place, because you know that there's going to be that like initial feeling of like, this is really intense. I feel like some of that has been going on here. But then again, like once you're over the actual situation, like you come through it, it'll be like, wow, it's so relieving. I feel like the weight of the world has lifted off my shoulders now. So that's how you're going to come out of this feeling. So it really is all to benefit you, totally and completely. And I do feel like you're getting a hand with this. Yeah, I'm seeing it as something that has needed. I'm seeing 1444 on the time when I looked up. It's something that's been needing to be done that hasn't been being done. something that has needed to be addressed that hasn't been being addressed, something that needed to be completed that hasn't been being completed. It's something of this. I'm seeing Saturn have to do with it. So definitely is going to be like can be related to responsibility and what's like really best for you, maturing. But yeah, I do get this, like, been avoiding doing this kind of at all costs, but then the relief that comes with this actually being done. And the peace really is going to come afterwards. But I definitely get like this buildup that's been happening here. Yeah, when this happens, I'm seeing things really are going to be rectified in a way. It feels like something that's been like out of balance and it's been like really wonky, and now this correction is going to come through and align it. But I feel almost like there's been I've just been dealing with it because I didn't want to have to like do the big one here with whatever this situation was. And so even though I'm seeing like once this is corrected, the feeling is going to be so different. Like things are going to be so much easier. Like certain things that were meant to be kind of like lifted off of you, like that stuff is actually going to happen. I just see you actually feeling relieved at the end of the day once you get to the other side of this. But it can be something that kind of, it really impacts you, I think, mentally more than anything, and it can feel like a lot to take in. But then it's going to be over. Yeah. Seeing strength at the bottom of the deck is connected with this like affirmation for you to tell yourself that you are capable of moving through this, that you're capable of getting through this, and that you are actually strong enough and that you can do this, and to remind yourself of that all the way through. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.